This is a quick video. I'm gonna say my piece right now. Um, I want people to understand something. I want people to understand something. It's about we know what was gonna happen with Rittenhouse. I don't give a shit about that. It's another the white boy. He beat a charge, whatever. He beat a case, whatever. I don't give a shit about him. What um I don't care for though is people who want to play games and who are out there trying to basically do the same playbook. And it's like, guys, this is not a game no more. All right. And I want to preface this point real clear. If you're going to come on here and start saying stuff about, well, if you look at this and da 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 da, listen, I got no time for that. All right. If you want to, again, if you guys want to play the perfect victim shit, because I'm seeing a lot of folks post like the rap sheets of the three people that got killed, and it's just like, I don't even give a shit. I don't really give a shit about the because the preference of the point, that's not what we're saying here. Because when I see that, what these people are saying is that essentially at the end of the day, those people deserve to be killed because of the rap sheet. Especially the one guy that has a felony. It's like he has a felony, so you think he should be killed. That's a bit something that's not right over where your brains are at. But I don't know, maybe it's the white supremacy that's really the white supremacy Kool-Aid that's really got to your head. So at the end of the day. So and personally I don't really, because I know folks in my block, I know homies in the I know where I'm at. I know homies in the Bronx. I know homies that have rap sheets of felonies, robberies, um, attempted murders that they magically, that some of them like it took them mountains to climb in order for them to beat those charges, because they're basically men of color at the end of the day, and this is what happens when you're in a environment of gangs and whatnot. um but they turn themselves around. So essentially what these people are telling me, that those homies that I know, essentially they deserve to be killed because they got a rap sheet. It's basically what they're saying at the end of the day. So I don't give a shit about because I'm seeing them post. I'm seeing a lot of them post the rap sheets of the people. Another point I want to make. Let me tell you something. I don't give a shit if the kid went there with the intention. Let me tell you something. This kid went there on his own volition because he went with a group of folks who, I don't know. I don't know if they ever said that he was a boogaloo boy. I don't know. But he went there himself down in Kenosha to basically say, well, I'm here to defend the property of the community. First off, fuck off with that bullshit. Those people, and this is directly at the Rittenhouse thing. Listen, nobody told you to go there to defend people's property. First off, let's be clear here. Because, a couple of dumbasses who I will, fuck it, I don't care. I really don't give a shit about these people. Folks like Destiny and others who are saying, well, if you look at it, it was totally justified that the shooting happened. Now, granted, this is the same Destiny that said protesters should be shot on sight if they burn property. Oh, my God. Okay, so let me get this straight. First off, that isn't your property because, well, we're talking about Kenosha. So we're dealing with a place which, in general, well, let's just be honest here, that didn't really belong to these white people. That place actually belonged to the indigenous people, who we don't know if they're still there or not, or the tribes that used to be there, because some of them probably were wiped out or pushed out. So technically, by that definition, that is not their property. by historical standards. That doesn't belong to them. But we're not going to get to that point. Let's talk about now. Who the fuck asked these guys to come in with their bulletproof vests? And this is the thing I always love about these guys. These guys come in and they're like, yeah, we're tough guys with our bulletproof vests. Bruh, let me tell you something. Not even gangsters wear bulletproof vests. It's not because they can't afford them. Not even they wear bulletproof vests. You got these clowns going around being like, yeah, we got our tactical gear on, as if they're tough guys, as if they're, they're walking around thinking they're freaking Frank Castle. You know, basically, they think they're the Punisher at this point. And it's just sad, to be honest. I mean, I'm not even like looking at it like, it's just kind of just sad because I mean, if that's how you can present your so-called manhood of defending your community, I mean, holy shit, then why wear the bulletproof vest then? Okay. Um, but apart from that, those places are insured. Those businesses are insured. So I can't buy some dumbasses going in with their guns saying we're defending property when you look at the gas station and it's like motherfuckers defending a speedway? Bro, that's a multi-billion-dollar company. Or Royal Dutch. Why the fuck are you defending a multi-billion-dollar company that can get that insurance drop of a hat? So the whole argument of these guys coming in like, "Oh, we were defending property." Spare me that bullshit. Those places were insured. Fuck off. They did not need you to be there as a freaking vigilante slash private force to be like, oh, we're volunteering to defend property. And this goes to my point. I don't give a shit about your property at the end of the day. Because human life, property, whatever that nebulous concept of what the fuck that is, those buildings can be demolished and rebuilt over. But my life cannot. When I'm dead, I'm dead. You understand? So when you got folks like Destiny crying about, oh my God, property is being destroyed, fuck off. You sound delusional, saying that's more important than the lives of people. So cry me a river about that shit. So you're gonna cry and be like, oh no, they attacked the Starbucks. Cry me a fucking river. Now, I want people to understand the consequences of what will happen because this is what I've heard around my block. People who have watched the Rittenhouse trial where I'm at. I was with a group of friends yesterday, and I was hanging out with them, and when the verdict came on, everyone was, the usual. They're just like, oh, another white boy beat a case. All right, and I got a little annoyed because a couple of my friends brought up what happened to one of my friends when we were in high school, and how he caught a case and he was sentenced to basically 4 years in Rikers, um, for an accidental gun discharge because some tough white boy decided that he was gonna fight this guy, tried to reach for his gun that he had, and the gun just fired and shot him. He didn't die, of course, but he got wounded, and it's like no one told that white kid to reach for that dude's gun. But he got the 4 years of Rikers charge because it's like, oh, why did you have possession of a firearm? So that's what got him. And he wasted. I mean, we didn't see him in high school. He missed high school. He had to get his GED. He's doing all right now, but it brought memories of that because my friends were bringing that up. They're like, "Look what happened to him, man." And this boy gets off like it's nothing. And I'm like, "Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks." And when we talked about the protesting and them, a couple of my friends brought up something very interesting, which it was a concern. I was concerned that I heard this from them because I'm not a person of violence, and I don't believe in that. But when I heard them say that, I understood what they were saying. I understood the frustration, and I understood why that this is the result of what's going to happen. So when I was talking about it, and they're having a conversation about, oh, all these white boys thinking they're going to come around here with their vigilantes, with their freaking with their freaking AR-15s like that. Then you know what? One of my friends said, then we're gonna have to come in with a strap, and I'm like, what? Cause even I was surprised. I'm like, wait, you mean you're gonna come in with you're gonna be strapped? And they're like, yeah, man. If these white boys think they're gonna come in when we protesting black people getting killed, then I might as well cop a AK, and tell these homies what's going on. And I'm like, of course I'm concerned for my friend because I'm like, dude, yo, if the cops find out, man, they're gonna kill us first. And my friend's like, at this point, do we have anything to lose? When he said that to me, I just had an epiphany thought, and I'm just like, shit, shit, because this is a tragedy of, this is what this is, you know. And when I heard that, I'm like, but I wasn't mad at him. I didn't attack him. I didn't be like, you crazy, don't do that. I just nodded my head because I understood, like, it makes sense it was going to come to this point, you know. And what I meant by that was that what's going to start happening is, especially with these protests, you're going to have a lot of these white vigilantes. They're going to justify killing protesters. But there's going to be another reaction too. There's going to be a counterbalance where you're going to start seeing folks with protesters that have guns on them. And they won't be boogaloo boys. I'm telling you that right now. They're going to be homies from the block who happen to have an AK on them, walking around, looking at that other white boy holding, thinking that he's defending property, and looking at him like, you gonna make a move first? And that's what I was afraid was gonna happen. Because just from that conversation I had, I started thinking to myself, fuck man, are homies from the block also gonna start having this convo too? Shit. Because I care about, black life and black lives and shit. And you know, I wouldn't want that to happen and put, people like that in danger like that. But if that's the case, I mean, shit. And that's the result of what's going to happen. Because eventually, if these white vigilantes are going to come in and start, murdering protesters, the reality is that there's going to be a counter reaction. It's just what's going to happen. I don't, I personally, I'll give you an example. I tend to not like black nationalist groups, certain black nationalist groups. But they come in with the straps and they say, "Oh, we're here to protect the protesters," and it's like, "Fuck." And you're gonna start seeing more of that. You're gonna start seeing more of that, um, because it's going to be a counter reaction, and it's just what's gonna happen, right? Especially with the Rittenhouse thing, because there's gonna be the whole thing with, these white vigilante types who are gonna come in and say, "Oh, we could kill, oh yeah, we can kill any protester we want," and you're gonna have a counter reaction to, people of color who, rightly, justly so, are gonna come in and just be like, "All right, if you got an AR-15, I got an AK with a drum. Make your move," because that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna see two people cross the street. White dude, tactical gear, being like, "We're protecting property." A brother over there with an AK on the side of his on the side of his back, like, what's up? Because it's gonna lead up to that point. That's what's probably what's gonna start happening. Especially if these white vigilante types think they could, push up on people like that. So, or feel emboldened. I think that's what's gonna happen. So at the end of the day, I really don't have time for the snakes and the bullshit of certain other people. I mean, you got people like Destiny being like, "Yo, this is actually a justified verdict." Same guy who said protesters should be shot. Don't buy a word he's saying. Same for that anime girl, who the fuck she is. Good old Israeli apartheid apologist. So glad Ben Empanada dragged her ass, because that's basically, she's coming in being like, "Oh, the nuance, both sides, both sides." Listen, if you're gonna play that game with people, there's the door. Because I don't have time for that. I really, really don't. And I don't have time for the, well, they have to be perfect victims. I don't have time for that because, guys, you're talking to a person of color here. You did it with Mike Brown. You did it with Trayvon. You did it with Sandra Bland. You did it with George Floyd. Some of you motherfuckers even said George Floyd shouldn't have used fake money. So that warranted him getting killed. I mean, don't play this. Don't do that, man. I know you're gonna do it anyway because the white supremacy, you can't help yourself. Your whiteness is too important. So cry me a river with this shit. For real. So at the end of the day, do I give a crap about Rittenhouse's verdict? Yeah, I do care about it in terms of like protesters and their safety. But I also know this also creates an escalation point, because if you're gonna be violent to protesters, don't be shocked when they got folks from, even though I don't like the new Black Panther Party, when they got folks like the new Black Panther folks walking around with freaking the same AR-15s these motherfuckers have, because that's the environment you guys have just created. Because you dumbasses were like, we have to defend property at all costs. Who told you to defend the property? These motherfuckers are saying, "Oh, we're defending our community," and these motherfuckers are standing over a gas station, not even a local a gas station owned by a corporation, saying, "Oh, we're defending this." Okay, all right, all right. Yeah, this is where the capitalism kind of intersects there. So, at the end of the day, wherever we go, whatever happens, and I'm not going to talk about people who are saying, "Oh, the media claimed that there were black people that got killed." They never even said that. They actually showed the photos of the victims that got killed. So I don't know if anyone has fucking brain worms, or they're not fucking hearing right, or better yet, this is what you're doing. Particularly, I'm talking to folks who claim to be journalists. You guys are pulling the whole, "I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that, but I know they said it, but I'm just gonna pretend they didn't say it." Because we know you heard it. We know you saw it. You're just going to pretend you didn't see it or hear it. See no evil, speak no evil, am I right? I mean, that's usually the grift, right? That's just how it is. We're going to pretend we didn't hear something, even though that's exactly what, you know, was actually said and presented to us. But we're going to omit details because, reasons. Because it doesn't fit our narrative if we actually include actual facts of reality. Which, at the end of the day, that kind of proves that your ideology is just built on nothing but lies. It's just a pillar built on lies that could collapse at basically any moment. Um, it's basically a house of cards. It's just it's a fucking pillar that just rots. at the end of the day, because you can't hold it up, because eventually it's just going to crack and seep in, and it's just going to do that. Nothing you can do about it, because it's built that way. So at the end of the day, so that's my video on the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, and end of the day, this is America. Um, you know, this is a country that, it's always like, oh, we don't want to talk about history. It's the same thing with the CRT panic. It's like, oh, we don't want to talk anything about American history. Okay, but, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys watch movies. You do know one of the most key plots of movies are when characters try to run away from their past, and then the past always comes back, reworks back right where they started. It always comes right back to them. They try to run as fast as they can, but boom, it comes back. I'm surprised. You guys watch a whole bunch of movies. I'm pretty sure you guys know that, right? In terms of American history, American culture, you guys watch so many movies about people running away from their past. And that's just exactly what these people are doing with the whole, we don't want our kids to know anything about history. But let's be honest, specifically white kids. They don't want white kids to know anything about history. So um, this is the U.S. A country that loves to deny the reality of itself and will always do so. Thus, we will always have the same problem over and over and over again. And these people are gonna sit there starry-eyed, being like, "How could this happen?" It's a bunch of people pretending to live under rocks at the end of the day in this country. They're pretending they live in a cave and they don't know shit. And they get out the cave once in a while and they're just like, "Oh no!" Even though they were just outside the cave minutes ago and they just saw what happened. That's the US. That's the best analogy I have for this country. So, anyhow, folks, I'll leave it there. Y'all have a wonderful day. Folks, be safe out there. And people of color, everyone else, every marginalized person. I know it's also trans awareness of victims too. So give a shout out to that. Solidarity. And yeah, that's my video.